Hello and welcome to Talk of the Game. The Premier League is back in this match preview. West Ham United against Everton. Gonzo, let's kick off as usual, please. Can I get your thoughts on the Toffees?
A completely rudderless ship, it has to be said, Geo. I have not got any idea what direction they're going in. I mean, up until recently, even Leeds, who were not doing well, I knew I knew their direction of travel. I knew what they wanted to do. I've no idea what Everton want. I think their managerial recruitment is scattergun. I think their player recruitment is scattergun. It seems to have taken almost 10 years to get the new stadium built. It's still not built. I just don't really know what's going on there. You've also got, I believe, heavy investment from Usmanov as well, which is now being called into question after everything that's recently happening. I may or may not be right. I don't know, but it's got. I look at the club and think I don't know how they've got themselves into this mess. Bearing in mind they're a big club, they're an established Premier League club with lots of trophies that they've won historically, and a mega rich owner. It's really hard, and a loyal fan base, and an excellent stadium now, by the way. Probably that and Selhurst Park, probably the only two real proper football stadiums left in the Premier League. I would suggest, unless someone tells me of a different one, but proper old school stadiums. How you can put that fan base, the ownership, the history of the club, the stature of the club, put all that stuff into the mix and the melting pot and come up with what they got now. I don't know how you could make that fail to the extent it clearly is at the moment.
Yeah, I can't believe it, really. I agree with you. They've got all the ingredients to be a good club, to be competing for European football. But they've got everything wrong. And it's almost difficult to get it this wrong. And the appointment of Rafa Benitez was just stupid. It was very stupid to do that. I still can't believe they appointed Rafa Benitez, thinking it was a good decision. And I know people often dismiss the feelings of football fans, and I agree to some extent. You shouldn't listen to me and you as to what we think, we think should be right back for West Ham. Well, you guys are. You've tuned in. But my point is, we are not football experts. We're football fans. But I always say, when 90% of the fan base are saying the same thing, there's something there, right? If 20% are saying it, dismiss it. It's not really worth listening to. It's an opinion, that's all. But when 90% of the fan base are saying the same thing, I think you have to pay attention. I think something inside you should say they've probably got a point here. So when 90% of the fan base, or it appeared to be 90% of the fan base, was against the appointment of Rafa Benitez, someone at Everton should have thought for a moment, this is probably a bad thing. We probably shouldn't be doing this. There was anti-Benitez flags before Benitez was the manager. They were trying to say to the board, we do not want this guy. And they probably did struggle to get behind him, but I'd imagine they did get behind him on match days. They wanted him to do well for the success of Everton, but it was just deemed to be a failure as soon as he was before he was even in the door. And all season I've been thinking, they'll turn this round. They'll turn this round. And it's getting to the point now you're thinking they're running out of games here. Then you look at the fixtures they've got left and you think, Christ, this is not good for Everton at all. They finally got rid of Benitez. It was probably too late. There was 5-6 games before they sacked him where I thought, surely now they're going to get rid of him. No, surely now they're getting no. And it just seemed like they were kicking the can down the road. And then when they finally did pull the trigger, you think, well, it's a bit too late now, isn't it? What are you going to do? Who are you going to go get? And I think we'll get onto the appointment of Frank Lampard in a minute. But they shouldn't be in the position they're in. They're far too good a club. They're far too big a club. The players are too good. And I know we can't use the phrase too good to go down because we were that team that was too good to go down, but did go down. But you do look at the Everton squad and you think, while yes, there's some players that shouldn't be there, they've overpaid for some players, but let's compare it to the teams around them, the likes of Burnley and Watford, even Leeds United and Newcastle, even Southampton to some extent. Everton have got a good team. They've got a good team. They've got players there that should be easy to get out of the relegation battle. And it reminds me when Moyes came back to us after we sacked Slaven Bilic. Well, not so much Bilic, more Pellegrini, which was, I don't think it was a difficult job to keep us in the Premier League. We had a good team. We were better than the teams around us. And I think that about Everton. But will Frank Lampard... I mean, what do you make of the Frank Lampard appointment, Gonzo?
I still find him a manager looking to cut his teeth. Frank Lampard had two bits of experience, and one of them was as at a Championship club, which at the time, that was Derby County, not Derby County as they are now. That was Derby County, who had a bit of money comparatively in the Championship. So a club with a bit of money in the Championship. Okay, well, that was his experience there. Almost got them up. And then he was given the Chelsea job at a time when Chelsea had a transfer embargo. And because they had a transfer embargo, he had a sort of free reign of playing the kids, many of whom are now established first team players for Chelsea. A couple have gone on and are playing elsewhere. But two very different remits to what he's being asked to do for Everton. I think if I was Everton, what Everton needed wasn't a guy with those two bits of experience. You know, you would need an experienced manager, really, which he just wasn't. So I did find it an odd one because it couldn't have been based on evidence for the reasons I've just given, because there was no evidence to suggest he could do it. So it was based on hope, or expectation, or on a whim. And I thought, well, what on earth are Everton doing, appointing a manager on hope when clearly they're in a bit of a pickle? Weird one, really.
Yeah, I completely agree. I thought it was a strange appointment. If they'd stayed up, if they'd got someone in, stayed up, and then they said at the end of the season, "Thank you very much, you've kept us up, but you're not the man to keep us forward. You were the man to keep us up. That's it." And then in the summer they said, "Right, Frank Lampard, and you come." I would get that, because then they're trying to build a long-term plan. They're saying to Frank Lampard, "Right, we think you're the guy that's going to promote the youngsters because you've done that at Chelsea. Can you do it at Everton, please? Can you get us playing some half-decent football? You've done that at Derby. You played some decent football at Derby. Can you do that again with Everton, please? And we'll accept mid-table for the first couple of seasons while you work out who you want and who you don't want, and go on from there." But I think to bring him in a relegation battle, and this is why I think they left Rafa Benitez sacking too long, because when they did sack him, there wasn't that much options available. People were looking at it thinking, "Crikey, I don't fancy that job." Had they got rid of Benitez halfway through the season, I think they would have got some more experienced, more established managers that would have looked at that and thought, "Oh, I can easily keep that team up. Yeah, I'll have that job," because it should be a good job. Everton's job should be a really good one in the Premier League. It should be a mid-table team with a bit of money to spend, with some decent players there to work with a really good fan base behind you. It should be a good job for a manager. A bit like, to some extent, Patrick Vieira going in at Crystal Palace, where he thought, "Actually, I quite like this. I fancy a bit of that." Everton should have the same appeal, but because they left it so late, I think some managers would have looked at it and thought, "No, I'm not having that on my CV, actually, because if you take Everton down, you're going to struggle to get a job after that, because you're going to be deemed a failure, not Rafa Benitez, you, the manager that takes them down, that takes them from outside the relegation zone into the relegation zone." If Everton can go down, Frank Lampard's going to look like really damaged goods, and he's going to have to hope that Everton stick with him and let him have a season in the Championship to get them back up, to almost repair his reputation in football. And I just agree with you. I think, Newcastle went after Eddie Howe, and like when we did the Newcastle preview, I don't know why people say he's never done a relegation battle. He was almost in a relegation battle every season with Bournemouth. He just kept them out of it. That was an achievement. He's not done that. Lampard's not had that experience. Everton should have gone after someone. I know Everton fans are going to hate me for saying this. Someone like Sam Allardyce back and said, "Just do 6 months, keep us up. We'll give you a couple of million quid for your troubles, and then you can book it off, and we're going to go and get someone else in." So I think they've got it wrong, and I think they're sort of almost paying for it a little bit. Now, before we get on to the big question, which is, will Everton go down? This video is sponsored by the One Football app. For you Evertonians that want to keep up with your team news, you probably don't at the minute, but if you do, you can do via the One Football app, as can West Ham fans. Obviously, we're waiting to see if Jared Bowen and Vladimir Sufal are back, but we've got a little bit of good news with Aguana being back in training. Not quite ready for the first team yet, but he is back. Keep up to date with everything going on at your club. The latest ahead of the big game on Sunday via the One Football app, which is completely free to download. Links in the description and the pinned comments of this video. Get on your device, keep up to date with everything. An hour before kickoff on Sunday, you'll get the team lineup straight to your phone. Gonzo, big question. Are they going to go down?
Well, they've got some games in hand. I would bet £1 that they won't, but I wouldn't put £20 on it. I wouldn't put a fiver on it, actually. So I think it's really, really tight. Their form stinks. They're getting players sent off a lot, which hints at an unhappy dressing room. They've just taken an absolute tonking. He can't seem to settle on a system. He can't seem to settle on what position people should play in. which is a major issue as well. And then you have to really say, okay, so he's got games in hand, but there's quite a big gap between leads. So you've got to win those games in hand. And also, so that's one aspect of it. There are two others. Here's the thing, are you confident that Everton under Frank Lampard from now until the end of the season will have better form than Watford under Roy Hodgson or Burnley under Sean Dyche? And everyone's got their own answer to that question, but it ain't an easy one. And you can't say, nobody can say with 100% certainty, yes, Frank Lampard at Everton will do better than Roy Hodgson at Watford and Sean Dyche at Burnley. Is my money. That will definitely happen. I'll tell you, it's tight, Geo. It's tight.
So give us a prediction, though. Will they get relegated, yes or no?
I think they might.
I think they'll scrape it. I think they'll just stay up. I think Norwich and Watford are gone. I know what you're saying about Watford, but I've seen them under Roy Hodgson. They don't look that much better to me. And that leaves two teams, Everton and Burnley. I think Leeds will be fine. I think Brentford will be fine. Newcastle are fine. So that leaves Everton and Burnley. And I think the difference between the two is I think Everton's got goals in them. I just don't... Weghorst hasn't quite worked out for Burnley yet. Cornet's come back from injuries, not quite happened. And I think a lot of teams won't welcome the international break. Tottenham, for example, were flying. They'll international break. Conte will be thinking, we could do without this. Half my team goes away. We're in good form. I think Frank Lampard would be one of the managers thinking, thank God I've got this break. Thank God I've got 2 weeks with them now. And I think international break... Well, something slapped him in the face, actually. We'll move on to the players who admire Gonzo. I'm going to say no, they won't go down. They'll just stay up. But players who admire, I'm going to start with Nathan Patterson. I'm a big fan of him. Only saw him briefly at Rangers. He didn't get that many appearances because he's a right back, and Rangers' as captain is the right back. It's one of those, it's like being back, it's been like a young striker at Tottenham. You can't get in the team because Harry Kane is there. That's the equivalent of Patterson at Rangers. He's played 2 games for Scotland in the international break, both friendlies. Man of match in both. Unbelievable. He just gets forward so well. Such an energetic player. And I've been surprised he's not been used by Frank Lampard yet. I know he wasn't brought in under Frank Lampard, but they're playing Seamus Coleman, who, with the greatest respect, was past it a couple of years ago. You know, he's been a fantastic right back, one of the best pound, value money signings in the Premier League history, really, to come in and get that from him. But it's sort of time up for Coleman now. You've got this young lad who can really change the dynamic of the team, give you something going forward. You've got Calvert-Lewin, who, when fit, is one of the best strikers in the air. You've got Richarlison, who's really good in the air. You've got Patterson, who's really good at getting forward and crossing it. Yet Frank Lampard's not playing him. I think I'm just hoping, for the sake of Everton fans, that Lampard has watched Scotland in the last couple of games and thinks, that's my right back. That guy looks really good. I own him. I might start using him. And if he does, I think he'll almost have, I say he'll have a new signing. He will have a new signing. He is a new signing. They need to get him into the team. They really do. I think it will make a huge difference to the way that Everton play. Apart from that, there's not been that many other impressive players. There's only been one other player who's impressed me a lot for Everton this season, and that's Anthony Gordon. He's had a good international break, the England under-21, scoring again. If Everton win a game, he's probably had something to do with it. I think he's a little bit greedy at times, can be a little bit selfish, but I don't really blame him. When you're looking, he's got Iwobi at the other side of the pitch. I don't really blame him for not passing to Iwobi. I think he's, such a glum, dark season for Everton. He's been a real shining light, actually. He's come through the academy. I think the Everton fans adore him, and they should adore him. And he's going to have a big future in the game as well, Anthony Gordon. And if Everton do go down, I'd imagine a lot of clubs will be in for him, possibly even including West Ham United, because he's someone that would suit David Moyes down to the ground, works hard, really skillful player, can set up goals, score goals. Anyway, players you admire, Gonzo?
I'm just amazed at the players you've picked out there. I've got to say, for all the money they have spent, listen to the players you've just picked out there. And that is why they're going to struggle massively. I'll tell you a player who I really like. His name's John Joe Kenny. He's an excellent young player. Watched him for England under-21s before. Funny enough, plays the position you were talking about there, but not under this manager. He doesn't. He just played him at right centre back, not his position. Then he just played him at left wing back, not his position at all. I like Yerry Mina. I don't know what's happened to him, but again,
injured
he needs
all the time.
There you go, injured all the time. So he's not really featuring all the time. I like Allen, but he's lost his lost his head, so he can't really feature in the team at the moment. Got himself sent off last time, not playing up to the standard that he is. I like Jordan Pickford, but Jordan Pickford is not playing well at all either. And herein, we're now starting to get to the problems. I also like Richarlison, but Richarlison's got his head elsewhere. Now you're seeing problems in the team because this is, look, you picked out some good players. That's very perceptive of you to pick out these other players, but they're not the big players that should really get them out of relegation. The ones I named are the ones that should be getting them out of relegation. I tell you what, it's almost null and void. And then you've got to this ridiculous situation that you got with Dele Alli. Sorry, it sounds like I'm hating on Everton. I like Everton. All right, I do like Everton. I really do. I just can't believe what's happened. I've got every sympathy with the Everton fans. It's not like I'm sitting here like have a little crafty dig at Tottenham. Far from it. I really like the club. Then you've got this ridiculous Dele Alli situation there where David Moyes, where Jose Mourinho, towards the end of his tenure at Tottenham, for this, not quite right with this guy. Okay, and then the next manager comes in, or something not quite right with this guy. And then the next one comes, what's his name? The one that was at Wolves, come in, said, said, hold on, not sure about this one. And even when Conte came in, hey, look, Dele Alli, put him in the team. Well, actually, no, I don't think we'll bother with that. We'll leave him. So you've got this line of managers who thinking this guy's not right. Frank Lampard brings him in with a view to, if everything works out, they pay 40 million. But my point is a big, high-profile signing. And again, he's not really featuring either. So I don't know where the surprise is there. I just find the whole thing weird. And then you find yourself in a situation now where Iwobi, who was a £40 million misfit from Arsenal, is now back in the team, playing a little bit better. I'll give you that. But still, you sort of look at it and you think, well, hold on a second. There's Damari Gray again, and there's Andros Townsend playing in that game. Now, when it started at the start of the season, it looked like that was the way to go. $1.5 million for Damari Gray, brilliant under Benitez. His first few fixtures, Benitez did the team was doing well. Andros Townsend on a free from Crystal Palace, absolutely genius. Well, I'll tell you what, not bad as squad players when things are going well. Again, when you're looking to get out of that situation, you're probably looking at it thinking, whoa, this is not the way we want to be going. As players we should be admiring, Geo. As players, lots of players I would, under normal circumstances, admire. I've got to say, I'm not admiring too many of them at the moment.
Anyway, plenty about Everton. Trying to talk about West Ham very briefly. Team news. We don't really know much. Jared Bowen is supposed to be aiming for the Everton game, but in footage that the club have released as of yesterday in regards to training, Jared Bowen's not to be seen. He's not involved in the first team training as yet. And either is Vladimir Coufal. Either the West Ham media team are being very clever and snipping them out of all of this, but they're not even in the background. Bonner, of course, is back in training, but is a long way off first team. So I think, going by assumptions, until we hear from David Moyes later this week, I think we can assume Coufal and Bowen won't be featuring this weekend and might just come one game too soon, and perhaps Lyon is the target for them. Now, Gonzo, I'm going to say it, 11 sort of picks itself for me, but let's get into it anyway. Keeper.
Oh,
come on! There's no dispute here. It's got to be, what? Why?
Because I just want that distribution in this game. I want to really get Everton. I want to really go for the jugular. I don't want to. Look, there's times when we sit back and we do it okay, and we do it better than okay. We do it really, really well. Mate, they don't know what they're doing. I'm sorry, Lampard doesn't know what he's doing. Everton need to come and get a point and sit back and the rest of it. He's not going to do it. He's going to play some weird formation. He's going to try and come at us, partly because he doesn't know what he's doing, partly because of his ego and anti-West Ham attitude. Our keeper's going to get the ball. We need to spring an attack on him. We need to cut him to shreds on the counter-attacks, which is why I'd play Areola.
It'll be Fabianski for me. He's having a good season. I know he wasn't at his best against Tottenham, but who was, And I think it was just a bad game. But prior to that, the game against Villa, I thought Fabianski was man of the match, so he stays in for me. Now, the back four, this definitely picks itself. Ben Johnson right back, Creswell left back.
Is Coufal not fit?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
If Coufal was fit, I would pick Coufal for this if he was fit.
Would you?
I would, yeah, for definite. For the same reason that I would pick Areola over Fabianski.
So who would you pick Coufal over?
Johnson.
So
to attack. Because
Ben Johnson in the bench.
I would, yeah, because I think Johnson's a better defender, and I think Soufal's a better going forward, which is going to dictate the way I want this team picked, basically. But if it might be academic if he's not fit, it doesn't matter. So it's Johnson in there for this one with Dawson, Zuma, and Cresswell.
No, I'd still pick Ben Johnson. Even if Vladimir Soufal was 100% fit, I'd be saying, sorry, mate, this is all right back now. While you've been out injured, this guy's been bossing it against Sevilla. You're going to have to sit on the bench and wait for Ben Johnson to be out of form. I'd look to get him on the pitch towards the end of the game just for fitness reasons, so then he becomes a viable option against Lyon if we need him. Obviously, we'll have 5 substitutions in the Europa League, and if we're in a winning position, it would be good to have the option to bring on another defender other than just Issa Diop. At the minute, we need to protect the lead. Diop's the one that comes on. It'd be nice to be able to bring on Soufal and say, right, Johnson, left wing back, Creswell, centre back, and we go to 3 at the back kind of thing. So I'd like to get him some game time if he's back. But, no, Ben Johnson starts for me. And I agree with what you're saying, by the way. I think Soufal is the better attacker and Johnson is the better defender out of the two. But I think it's almost like safety first here. While Everton are obviously out of form, so on and so forth. And I agree with you. I think Frank Lampard will come looking for 3 points. But I think that's why I'd keep Johnson in, because there's a good chance it'll be Richarlison on the left. And if it's not Richarlison, it'll be Anthony Gordon. It's one of their 2 better players going forward. So I'd have Johnson in there. I just think Soufal, while effective going forward, I'd say that he's arguably not been that effective this season. But defensively, I think he's been really poor. He's had in 2022, the calendar year so far, he's had some really bad games where he's had to be substituted in a couple of them. So yeah, Ben Johnson for me. Declan Rice in defensive midfield. But what about the centre midfield then? Because Souček has played both games for Czech Republic on international duty, 19 minutes both times. I mean, if you look at his minutes in March, the lad's he's only had a sort of a brief break, and that was when he went off with a head injury against Southampton.
Terrible, isn't it? Yeah. What can you do? What can you do is important to West Ham, is important to Czech Republic, you know. I'd still play him. In this one, because I just don't think we got any option. I think the drop-off is massive otherwise. So, and obviously we don't know about Bowen, do we? I suspect Bowen plays in this game, by the way. That's my hunch. I have a hunch Bowen's playing. And he'll be in my team. That'd be so. Yes, it's about moving Fornals around and whatnot, isn't it? But I would still play Souček, and I'd play Lanzini in there as well.
Yeah, I agree with that midfield. Reluctantly playing Souček because you don't want to tire him out a little bit. The good thing, if this was the game in between the Lyon games, and that makes sense, so the next weekend, I'd probably look to rest him a little bit, but because it's not, I feel it's important to almost get our Lyon starting 11 together as much as possible for this team, just to get up to match speed again, just to get any cobwebs blown away, get away any rustiness, get back together, because Rice, Souček, they've not even seen their teammates for the last couple of weeks while they've been away on international duty, so it'd be good to get them all back together. Lanzini's a 100% starter as well, become one of our most important players of recent weeks, and I think while we sort of joke about Everton, the reason they're struggling at the minute, I think, is more their defensive side of the game. They're a bit of a shambles at times. Michael Keane looks like a League One player some weeks, and Lanzini's the type of player that can go in there and take advantage of that and hopefully start threading a few balls through to the likes of Antonio and whoever's in attacking midfield and taking advantage of the poor Everton defence. Seamus Coleman's not playing right back, as I suspect. You almost want Lanzini to then move over to the left-hand side of the pitch thinking, right, I'm going to pick on you now. Me and this guy, whether it's Ben Ram or whatever, we're now going to double up on you and take advantage of this. So Lanzini's the key man this weekend, I think. Your attacking trio, please. You've already given us an indication that you'd like to see Bowen start, so it'd be interesting to see whom you are dropping outside of Fornals and Ben Rama.
I'm dropping Fornals for this one for all the reasons I've just already given. I want to attack them, and Ben Rama's in good form. Ben Rama's in good form at the moment. He's had a couple of really good games. So, Bowen back. Antonio, look, I've seen that training ground footage as well, and he looks sharp and rested and all the stuff he did. It was really nice to see. It was good footage actually. So yeah, I'll be quite interested to see that front three. I think that front three would cause Everton problems, no doubt about that.
I'm sticking with Fornals, Benrahma and Antonio. Even if Bowen's fit again, I'd put him on the bench for it with the intention of getting him on. I just think he's somebody I want to wrap up in cotton wool a little bit. Don't want to rush him too soon. I don't think he'll be back, Bowen. I'd be surprised if he's back. He might make the bench. I hope he does. We need him. And it would give us a bit of hope that he'll be available for the Lyon game. And if he is missing on Sunday, straight away after the game, you're going to be thinking, hang on, what about Thursdays? Does that mean he's missing Thursday? It's going to be touch and go. But I think Fornals has played well in the last couple of games. I'd keep him in there. And I think Benrahma has got all the motivation under the sun now. So obviously he got called up last minute for that game for Algeria against Cameroon. Didn't even get on. He was on the bench, didn't even get on the pitch. Called up last minute and didn't even get played. Then obviously Algeria went out of the World Cup qualifiers in the 120th minute. Cameroon scored in the 120th minute, knocked Algeria out. So one slap, you weren't called up. Next slap, we're calling you up at the last minute. Third slap, we're not even going to play you. Fourth slap, you're out the World Cup. But Algeria's manager has resigned. So now Algeria currently don't have a manager who he hasn't fancied Benrahma. But this is what Benrahma needs. He needs a fresh start with his country as well. You know, he loves playing for Algeria, understandably. So he's now got a couple of months to show the new Algerian manager, actually, I should be in the team. I should be playing left wing every single game for you. He's got every bit of motivation that he needs, Benrahma, to go on and kick on for the rest of the season, become the main man in West Ham's attack for club and country. Because I'd imagine it must be quite a bit of a, I don't know the right word, demotivated. A bit like Martin Noble to some extent. It must have been quite demotivating for him, especially that last season at Upton Park, where you're playing that well, you're thinking, I'm one of the best centre midfielders for the country at the minute. I've got to be in the team. Then you just don't get in the team. It must be pretty demotivating. Also, when you know the team's going to come out, the squad's going to come out, and you know you're probably not going to be in it, and then you aren't in it. It must be hard. It must be very, very difficult, because you must be thinking, what more can I do? And Benrahma's probably had a little bit of that with this Algerian coach, where, you know, the African nations, he didn't really get a fair shot, was used 10 minutes here, started one game out of 3, went out at the group stage. Big game against Cameroon, doesn't even get called up to the original squad. He must be thinking, what on earth? What's going on? But now he's gone. He's got to have a new lease of life. Almost like, here we go. You know, my international career can get back on track. So, yes, get Benrahma in there. And I agree with you. Antonio looked quite good at those clips. Anyway, Gonzo, no more international breaks. 6 months till our next international break, which means it's sort of the last leg, the home run between now and the Premier League, end of the Premier League. Top 6 in our sights. 8 games to go. It's exciting. But also
it is exciting. Yeah,
thoroughly important, not for both clubs, but more for West Ham at the minute. We'll talk about West Ham. I mean, these are 8 massive games.
They are 8 massive games, and you know, some tough ones in there as well. So we're going to need an unexpected win in there, at least that. We're probably an unexpected draw. And we're going to need to win against the teams that are below us in the table, which is a lot of teams. And Everton certainly would fall into that category, certainly. So these are important, really important games. And Ogbonna coming back, and Soufal coming back, and Bowen coming back. These are all really important things, whether they're back for the next game or the one after or the one after that. This is good. It was really good to see that footage from the training ground, to see everybody there in good spirits. I think I know why Diop's not playing. If you go and look at that footage again, he's just talking the whole time. He's talking to everyone. Diop clearly is everyone's mate. Look at him. He's talking to everyone. He's fist bumping everyone. He's talking to everyone. He's chatting. I think Moyes is probably saying, "Hey, you go and kick the ball. Go and play some football." He's clearly a popular guy around the training ground, which is really nice to see, actually. So, important games. But as I mentioned in whatever video, in the cup of tea, I feel that for once the timing has helped us this season, where for reasons I documented in that video, I feel the timing's been against us. So we've been able to press reset. Let's go for the remainder of the season. Look, if fatigue and all the rest of it, forget it now. Let's just go and get it done.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. And I think sometimes it almost goes underappreciated by fans, including ourselves occasionally, where you get carried away, you get swept up in the Europa League campaign. And so you should. So you should. We're in the quarterfinals of the Europa League. Enjoy it. You know, look forward to Thursday. Of course you can. But I think sometimes you sort of you're too focused on that. You forget, actually, we've got a chance to qualify for European football again. And like I said, I've said it a few times, I'll say it again, to do it 2 seasons on the bounce would just be incredible for West Ham. That's a 76-game achievement, that, to qualify for European football through the league twice. Of course, if we win the Europa League, we'll get the Champions League, so on and so forth. But I think to do it through the league twice is huge, especially when you're taking all 3 competitions seriously as well. We took the Carabao Cup seriously, we took the FA Cup seriously. Okay, we got knocked out in them. It doesn't mean we didn't take them seriously, though. And the Europa League, we've taken it serious too. And it's going to be a tough run-in, because we're away to play our first team on Sunday, our first team against Lyon, our first team next weekend, and our first team again against Lyon. So they've got 4 huge games coming up, one after the other. Then, of course, we're straight back to league duty, and we've got, like you said, we've got some big games coming up, some tough teams in there. We've got the likes of Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester City, Brighton, our bogey team, Everton, who we've got not a bad record against recently, actually, but they used to be our bogey team.
Oh yeah.
So we've got some hard games in there. But if we could get top 7, it would be a fantastic season. We could just get into 6. That would be Europa League football, incredible. Are you confident for Sunday?
Oh, massively, yeah.
You have to be, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, look, if you're not, it's just old West Hamitis, because, you know, it's being a pessimist of West Ham, and I get that. I totally understand it. You know, for us to lose it, and I've seen many times, particularly as a kid, you know, Everton turning us over, ridiculous. You know, turn up at that stadium and us getting whooped. They had such great players, that team. The Howard Kendall team I'm talking about was absolutely amazing. But these are different times. These are different times. You know, we've got Everton's old manager. We've probably got the manager Everton need. We've got the players in form. If you're just looking at evidence and you forget the West Hamitis, then it's really hard to make a case for Everton winning this game, really. They do seem to be in complete and utter disarray. I'd forget the club bit, just in terms of on the field, in terms of the way they're playing, in terms of formation, in terms of team selection. It's not happy to say. They Everton need a rhythm, mate. Everton need to pick a formation, stick to it, pick the same players in those positions, and go until, if they do that, they'll stay up. If he carries on doing what he's doing, they're in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, if there's any game, obviously Everton as a club and a fan base relish the games against Liverpool for obvious reasons. But there's any game the manager is going to get up for us, this one. Right, there's any game, if you said to Frank Lampard, here's your fixtures, you're coming in as manager, here's your remaining fixtures, what game do you want to win? I wouldn't be surprised if you said, oh, West Ham away, please, I'll have that one. I'd like to beat that lot, and also it gets us up and running for the rest of the season. If Everton come out on Sunday and they look demotivated, disorganised, as they have in recent games, including the FA Cup game against Crystal Palace, and you saw Lampard's interview after the game when he was like, scored an average goal, a goal from a corner, a flick goal, another average goal. And, it was almost like, what's going on? You can't concede 4 goals and just say it's fluke and average. If they probably were average goals, but they were average goals. That suggests that your defending was that bad. They didn't even have to play well to score 4 goals. But that sort of demeanour, if they come out and look like that again, Everton fans might as well just give up, because this is the one fixture that their manager might get up for and get his team riled up for.
But ours as well. This is the one that ours would look at that and think, particularly as Moyes will feel that he should have had the job at some point within the last 4 or 5 managers, and he almost got the job, and he admitted it, by the way, in a recent interview with Evening Standard or The Athletic, one of them. He admitted that he was about to get that job, and then they said, oh, actually, no, we'll have Ancelotti instead. I mean, that's going to be motivational. But don't get me wrong, Moyes has shown he doesn't hold a grudge, because otherwise he wouldn't have taken the West Ham job a second time. But they'll both be up for it. You're absolutely right.
Lampard has to get everything right on Sunday to have a chance of getting anything from this game. He could get everything right and still lose on Sunday, but to get something, he's got to get the formation right, the personnel right. All those players that he picks has to play really well. I mean, it was a tough game. I remember the game at Goodison, I was there. It was a difficult game against them. It was obviously Rafa's team. We won 1-0, but it was a close game. They were well organised, were hard to break down at times. Yeah, Lampard could get all that, and we could still win if we get all ours right as well. But I am confident, because I don't think Lampard will get everything right on Sunday, and I think we will. We were in really good form for the international break. Yes, we got a bit of a slap from Spurs, but I think we all just went, well, fatigue has caught up. We played 120 minutes on Thursday night. We've suffered for it on Sunday. It's not the end of the world. Fine. But before that, it wasn't just the Europa League game. We played well in Seville. We got beat, but we played well. We beat Sevilla 2-0 in 120 minutes. We beat Aston Villa between them as well. We were playing good football. And perhaps back in January, we were maybe winning a couple of games and you come away from the game thinking, oh, we didn't play that well, but we won, but we didn't play that well. We didn't have that. When we beat Wolves, it was like, we played bloody good. We deserved that. We beat Villa. Bloody hell, we played good again. Our form picked up. Our performances were warranting those 3 points that we were getting in those games. And the international break, like you said, came at the right time for us all to have a little bit of a rest, try and get Soufal and Bowen back. And even without them back, I am very confident for Sunday. We are everything they are not at the minute, which is well organised, working hard. Players are playing for each other. Everyone knows their position. You could put Fornals into about 5 different positions for West Ham on Sunday. He knows how to play all 5. Left wing, back, left wing, right wing, attacking mid, centre mid, no problem. Put him in any of them. He will know his job and he will carry out that job. Crikey, Lampard can't even put a right back and get a performance out of him. The right back stood there like, oh, what did I do here? Everything's gone bad.
Hold on, Patterson's right back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically got 3 right backs there then. And Seamus Coleman, Patterson, John Joe Kenny. He's playing none of them at right back, which reminds me of your story of the old Robertson and Tierney, which is what you say. He said Scotland have got 2 world-class left backs and no one's playing left back.
Yeah, one was playing left centre back, one was playing left wing back. So we had 2 world-class left backs and no one's playing left back.
There you go. So. Brilliant.
Anyway, can I get any final words from yourself as well as your all-important score prediction, please?
Yeah, look, really looking forward to it. If Lampard... Hopefully for Lampard, that was just something he did to the cameras. It wasn't a great interview. I'm sure he'll know that. Unfortunately, Lampard's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder. He often thinks the whole world's against him, rather than the truth being, actually, mate, that was just a crap interview. Probably think it was a fine interview and everyone's against me. If he's actually thinking that that's what happened in the game, then he really is screwed, because it means he's not gone and addressed the deficiencies in his defence. If he's gone with that attitude back into the team and said, that's all right, lads, it's just some average goals, we won't be conceding them next time, play the same again, he's completely screwed. If he does, we'll absolutely thrash him. I suspect he'll do a little bit better than that, and he will organise a team. I think West Ham will win 3-0.
I'm confident. I don't think it'll be hiding or anything like that. Like you said, I agree with you. I think there will be a bit of a reaction from Everton. I don't think they will be that bad again. But I think we're almost giving Lampard too much benefit of the doubt. But the thing is, I'll be honest with you, I thought he actually did all right at Chelsea, Lampard. I thought he did quite good with Chelsea, all things considered, and they played some good football and stuff. It's just that he's gone into Everton at the wrong time. Like I said, if he'd gone in the summer, I think it'd be okay, but because he's gone in this situation, I'm very confident, very, very confident for Sunday. We've got, like you said, players in good form. We've got a really strong team out. They're not doing great at the minute. A big game for us. We need the win. We need to win, especially ahead of Sunday. We need to get off with our win, get the confidence straight back up to sky high, get the momentum going from day one after the international break. And I'm going to say West Ham 2, Everton 0. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this preview, drop a like on it, subscribe to me around here. The game is a 2:30 kickoff on 2:00 kickoff on Sunday, I think. Basically, an hour and 5 minutes for a kickoff on Sunday. We will be live on the channel with our build-up show and a look at the West Ham team, the Everton team as well, before Charlie does watch along. Then we'll have the live review as well. So make sure you come back and join us if you're not going to the game. If you are going to the game, enjoy it. Myself and Gonzo, we'll catch you in a bit.